Welcome to the Tom Matt Show. You are walking through the front door of the retirement zone. And now, your host, Tom Matt.
Welcome, everyone. Welcome to this week's episode of what we like to call the Tom Matt Show. And I am Tom Matt, so imagine that. Hard to figure. Last week, David DeMarco and Roland Lazenby, we're going to say two guys talking sports, and then there was this third wheel, me, that were there. Hilarious is not the word. If you want to listen to a show from two of the most knowledgeable sports experts in the country, and I am not bull-jiving you, these two guys kill it. And we talk a lot of NBA stuff. We talked a lot about Kobe Bryant, Irvin Johnson, these guys, just dudes out there, just doing their thing. But Roland, as he's talking about catching, as Kobe's shooting his free throws and he's working practice with him for like 4 hours. It's just some of the stories these guys have are incredible. You want to check that one out. Go to the website, tommattshow.com, pick that whole thing up, and you will absolutely enjoy that one, especially if you're a sports fan. All right, today, my brother from another mother, one of my best friends in the whole wide world. Love this guy so much. He's so great. 11th visit, Doug Resseguie, Finding Inner Peace Through Nature. I'm going to read his old-ass bio. Doug is married father of 5, 4 daughters and 1 son. I'm going off my old bio, although Doug's really good about sending his notes over to me. That's awesome. He is an associate's in computer information. Hold on here. Now this guy he's got some paper on the wall. He's got an associate's degree in computer information systems, a bachelor's science in organizational management, hard, an MBA with a minor in strategic leadership. See where we're going with this? Leadership. And he's currently pursuing a PhD, a doctorate in education for organizational leadership. Imagine that. With an emphasis on organizational development. Because, Doug he's really outstanding about helping people get trained up and building people up. Amazing guy. And when you go through, like we both have gone through all of these changes in our lives, you need to find these mentors, these people who really can elevate you, not hold you down, not feel insecure with you getting better. We want to encourage that kind of stuff. And Doug is right on the front line of all of this. I want to welcome back to my radio program, my very, very good friend, Doug, the man, Resseguie. Doug, how do you like the title of Finding Inner Peace Through Nature's Classroom? Peel that right off your notes. How do you like that?
I like it.
Yeah, we're going to go there.
Sounds like it would apply, given the fact that you made me out to be like super brainy and scholarly.
I don't need to make you out like that, man. You are that. I mean, you are the walking, talking. When it comes to non-traditional education, we'll talk about that a little bit here a little later, because you know how we riff all over the place. You're 11th visit. You're a veteran. But let's talk about first thing I want to know about is Veronica. Talk about Veronica. How's that going?
My granddaughter is she's doing great. She's almost 2 years old. She'll be 2 years old in July. She was born a super preemie. She was 1 pound 5 ounces when she was born, but she is a fighter, and she's since grown into a beautiful young granddaughter who spends time with me every week, and we go outside and she runs around in the yard and picks dandelions and is experiencing nature. So at a young age.
All right. The rest of the clan, the whole giant clan of the Resseguie clan. Angela, let's start with Angela first. How's she doing?
She's doing good. She's doing really good. She's continuing to work in her new role. She works with research. She's assisting a research program here at the university in public health, and they've been working on a number of grant-funded research projects, and she's loving that. And she works with a good group of students that are all working through that, and they work with some really relevant things, which I won't talk too much about in detail, but they're working on real life problems based on health and how it relates to people's physical, geographical location, and how does nature and things like that affect them? And how does it affect people's health, even in cities and things like that? So
cool. Very cool. And the family, the rest of the children, how are they doing?
Doing good. Denise is home from Alaska, so she did 5 years teaching in the back country of Alaska, and she's currently teaching here in the Lansing area. Amber's still teaching in the Detroit area, Bethany is working in the area as well, and Nicholas is in the area. So everybody's sort of local, within reach, and they're all doing well. They're all young adults and going through living their lives, and I'm proud of all of them, and just looking forward to seeing what they do next.
It's amazing to watch our young people. I can't believe that Denise, she spent 5 years. It seems like it just was a snapshot in time, which 5 years really is. When people are young, and when we are young, we think 5 years is a long time. But 5 years in Alaska probably taught her a ton and made her an outstanding teacher. Not that she wasn't to begin with, but I'm sure that experience really paid off for her. So proud of her, proud of all your children and what you guys have done. And you guys have done an outstanding job raising the kids. And part of why you're so successful, in my opinion, is our topic with you as the hunter non-hunter, the lead dog on our hunter non-hunter topic, because we spin into the different areas about nature, finding inner peace through nature's classroom. Love that a lot, Doug. Go ahead. I want you to kind of get rolling on this thing because it's a big topic. I've got some notes here, but I want you to kind of set things up. You got about 3-4 minutes to go here. Please set this episode up so people know what to expect.
Well, I'll start with the fact that behind me on both sides is my trailer and my truck, and that's one of the places up north where I go and spend time. That's not camping to the fullest ruggedness. I also have a kayak and a backpack and a hammock with a tent that I put over it. And, if my wife and I want to take a canoe or a kayak and go down the river and spend the weekend somewhere just floating and setting up a camp, we can do that as well. But I just really want to talk about, I have seen a lot of places and things in life, and life sometimes seems complex, but nature grounds us. I mean, if you don't do anything today and you feel stressed out, take your shoes off, go out and stand in your front yard, just let your feet touch the dirt, take a deep breath of air, look up at the sky. The sun is there today, the moon will be there this evening, and it will repeat itself again. So that was one of the things we talked about during sort of the COVID process and time when everything seemed to be going upside down, is the earth is here. It's been here. It'll continue to be here. We're part of it. Learn from it. Learn that it may seem complex, but sometimes you just got to step away and get regrounded. And so there's some things we can learn from that. That's what I want to talk about today.
Being in the wilderness is very important. I just went to a meeting with a very, very, very knowledgeable nutritionist, and we were talking about, and she's very into natural things, and talking about the sun and how the sun is so beneficial. We get I think, Doug, we get kind of bombarded with marketing on sunscreen and cancer and all these negative things. But you know what? Vitamin D is really important to our health. And the sun is wonderful. I mean, wonderful. Talk about that for just a second, because I know you're such an outdoors guy, and we got a minute to go before we go, but your opinion on just vitamin D and getting into that sun.
Well, I think fresh air and sun is really important. I was just in Phoenix. I've lived in Phoenix before. I was just out there 2 weeks ago, and I currently take some medicine that doesn't really suggest that I spend long periods of time in the sun. But without getting in the sun, I don't get the vitamin D. So I'm either going to take something as a supplement, but it does affect you. You're part of who you are in the makeup of how your body and your skin uses that. It does help in terms of how your body needs certain things just to feel healthy, well, and that's absolutely there.
In today's episode, everybody, with Doug Resseguie, finding inner peace through nature's classroom. A couple of the topics we're going to cover today, and that's why you want to stick around. Embracing change. We're all going to go through change constantly. Sharpening our skills. And again, finding that inner peace. That's where I pulled part of the title for today's episode. Once again, Doug Resseguie is here. Finding inner peace through nature's classroom. Hunter, non-hunter. Love Doug Resseguie so much. 11th visit to the Tom Matt Show. You are listening to the Tom Matt Show.
This segment of the Tom Matt Show is brought to you in part by the Source of Light and Power by band leader Archival and broadcaster Mitch Anderson. Hear the sound that is endorsed by Odyssey headphones, linear tube audio, RME converters, and Peluso microphones at sourceoflightandpower.bandcamp.com.
Welcome to the Tom Matt Show.
This segment of the Tom Matt Show is sponsored by Craig Stiles, Ameriprise Financial. Full disclosure, as I'd like to say every episode, we have all of our retirement zone savings with Craig Stiles and Ameriprise, and I'm so grateful that we do. Through his Decideri Analytics proprietary algorithm that Craig created about 15, 20 years ago, before algorithm was a cool thing, that's the tool that puts us over the top. And let me tell you, I never worry about anything with Craig, anything. And that's why you want to make Craig your Ameriprise financial advisor, I hope, because he can help you plan for the life you want today and well into your future. That's why we have Craig and we trust him so much. And if you're curious about it, just go to our website, tommattshow.com, listen to some of those financial fitness episodes. Been on the show 25 or 26 times. That's how important I feel that financial fitness is, and promoting a guy like a Craig Stiles with him, with the right financial advisor and his team, life can be brilliant. Call Craig, 1-800-528-1355, 517-483-4853. Email is craig.stiles@ampf.com. Offices are located at a new spot because he's doing so well. He's upgrading. 2651 Coolidge Road, Suite 103 in East Lansing, Michigan, the home of the Spartans, 48823. Stations that have carried us in the past and carry us now. WGHN 92.1 FM in Grand Haven, Michigan was the first to ever carry us on broadcast radio. So grateful to WGHN and Will Tiemann, Wendy Hart. WGIM 1240 AM Lansing, Michigan, the flagship of the Michigan Talk Network. Thanks to Steve and Ivy Gruber. WJRW 1340 in Grand Rapids carried us for a long time. WKLQ 1490 Muskegon Whitehall. WYPV FM 94.5 Mackinac City. And of course, the flamethrower at Michigan State University, WKAR AM 870 and simulcast at 102.3 FM Sundays at 5. You can check that out. All good in our hood. And thank you to Craig for what he does. Love him so much. Please check out those episodes with him at our website, or you can go to the bottom of the homepage on our website and click right on through to get to Craig. If you just missed any of the numbers I just gave you, all of our sponsors are there and some of our friends as well. So you can find just good people. We only hang with good people. One of the things that I've learned is you are, the average of 3-5 people that you hang with. That old Jim Rohn saying there, Doug, you remember that one? It's just like you're the average of the people that you hang with. And believe me, coming from my dark days to the days where we're at now in the light, is that the truth or what, brother?
Absolutely. And I didn't know where you wanted to go from here, so I didn't want to add too much because you tend to have twists and turns.
That's all right. You know me, man. I'm all about, this is so spontaneous, and you know how I roll. I mean, it's just what's coming in Tom's head now. All right, let's go with what your topics are today. With first, at the university, this is something that you and I have become very accustomed to because the university is going to be around forever. I mean, we hope. But embracing change within departments, within the culture of the university itself is constant. It's always going on. And so let's start with that topic first, the embracing change, because as it folds into how nature grounds us, as you said earlier, go ahead, please expand on that whole embracing change thing. You're my hunter, non-hunter guy, my brother. Go ahead.
Well, I want to set it up with a little bit more than that. So what I would say is that embracing change, I want to back up just a little bit, and I want to go back to something that I don't know if I put it in my notes for you or not, but one of the things that I think is important is that in everybody's life or lives, we find that we're challenged in our daily lives a little bit, and we all sort of want stability with that, but we also know that there's change taking place. And so the good news is that, again, in this case, the wilderness and how we learn from nature. And when I say outdoors or the wilderness, it doesn't have to be that. It could be the city park. It could be your backyard. It doesn't have to be that you get to take a week off and go somewhere that's really super remote. But whether it's a camping trip or it's just a hike in the park, those experiences in nature offer you more than just a break from your routine. They act as sort of a hidden curriculum that teaches you valuable lessons and allows you to translate them to the challenges that you encounter in your daily life. And when I say that, like I was just on the river walk in Mason not too long ago. I was on a bike ride and it was calm. It was evening. It's a beautiful time of the year. There's no bugs out yet. I don't necessarily have a great love of mosquitoes, but it's early enough that you're not dealing with a lot. So my favorite time of the year to go for a walk, and you can, you hear the sounds of the river. You hear, occasionally wildlife, or you see something. And then what happens is, much like how music, oftentimes people talk about using music when they study or to unwind. Music speaks to us at a level non-verbally that maybe we can't even put words around, but we know it's soothing, or it can unlock different things. Nature has the same way of doing that. And so that's where I wanted to start, because when things seem complex, sometimes you just have to step back and get a bigger perspective, or change the lens that you're looking at things through. So one of the things that people felt when we were in the pandemic, when we were confined to our home, or maybe to an apartment or a smaller area, is you got really aware that you wanted to be outside of that. You wanted a little bit more room. And so just going outside, that was a huge move for people, and a resurgence in outdoor enthusiasts doing everything from hiking or walking or kayaking. I mean, people wanted to be outside. It was approved, allowable. And at the same time, during that period, we just started to rediscover some things that even today, I watch people going out for lunch. I see more people walking on sidewalks during lunch, or taking breaks and just going for a walk, even if they're not with other people. And I'm like, that's healthy, that's well. And what happens is, they're getting away from that constant grind of whether it's a social media or a message. I was in a program a while ago where we challenged each other to get even farther away. So I would lock my electronics in my locker in the gym, and I would leave the gym and I'd go for a walk for an hour, just to say, what is it like to be away from all things, all electronics, for an hour? And it didn't start with an hour. And believe me, if you think it's easy, do it, because we get so used to it. My back pocket, or my pocket where my phone is, would feel like it was vibrating, and I'd reach down. I'm like, there's no phone there. It's a sensation that your body's beginning to be used to, and it's a pattern. Doesn't mean it's wrong, but we want to be aware of it and understand how to unwire it sometimes. I even move my phone away from where I sleep, so that when I go to bed, I'm not trying to sleep at a lighter level to listen for it. So nature helps us unlock some of those areas. So that's what I would say with the complexity.
With complexity comes challenges. With challenges comes change. And through it all, we can just build confidence and just resiliency. And that's the whole point of continuing to grow older with grace and abilities to become resilient, and then transfer that knowledge to younger people, to older people, to bring the joy from you to them. Again, back to the people that you hang with. Finding inner peace through nature's classroom with my brother from another mother, Doug Resseguie. You're listening to The Tom Matt Show.
Thank you again to our Segment 2 sponsor, Craig Stiles of Ameriprise Financial. For more information on services provided by Craig, please visit ameripriseadvisors.com/Craig.Stiles or by calling 517-483-4893. You're tuned in to The Tom Matt Show.
Welcome to The Tom Matt Show.
Third segment of The Tom Matt Show is sponsored by White Law. White Law, where justice meets compassion. One of the finest group of people, great website. They will help you build a business out of nothing. If you listen to some of the early episodes with Jamie, you talk about especially that first one, where when he started his business, it was all working at, taking meetings at Burger King, wherever you could find a table, wherever you could meet with people. He was just a non-traditional guy who went about it the right way, got a couple of degrees from Michigan State University. That's Jamie White. White Law is our advocate in times of need. They are here to listen, support, and fight for what you deserve. And that's important, because without the right people helping you get better, there's no way it happens, because it's just life is too hard if you don't have other people helping you. You can survive, of course. But I'm just saying, surround yourself, as we said earlier with Doug, my guest today, Doug Resseguie. If you are the average of the 5 or 6 people that you hang with all the time. If you have the right people on your team, you know who to call, like a Jamie White, in times of need, then you have that peace of mind. And it's just important to have that peace of mind. Who are you going to call? Contact White Law today for your free consultation. whitelawpllc.com. The number is 517. I'll give it to you twice, everybody. 517-777-9785. 517-777-9785. That's the number over to White Law. And again, their website's just tremendous. And if you want to just take the easy route and just go down to TomMattShow.com, to the bottom of that homepage, click on his banner. There you go. It's easy peasy. All of our sponsors are there and other friends. Please do that. Support them, because they support us, and that's how we are able to continue to do this radio program now in our 13th season. All right, back to the show. 11th visit with my brother from another mother, Doug Resseguie, married father of 5, lifelong learner. He has very unique life skills. I didn't say this in his bio, but I want to say it again because I'm proud of him. He's a veteran with 12 years of military service. Thank you for your service there, Doug. He's also a 3rd-degree black belt. Is that still current? Is it 3rd or 4th or 14, or how many degrees do you have as a black belt? 27?
I have 3. Most traditional styles only offer 10.
Okay. All right. So what's the problem here, man? When you get done with the PhD, let's get to number 4. Okay.
Thank you. I'll work on that. I'm attending a black belt testing this weekend, but it's for a friend. It's not for me. So I am planning at teaching at the new Health and Wellness Center here at MSU, because I talked to the other instructors, John, and I said, as soon as I'm done with my dissertation, I'll commit to teaching, but I can't do that at the same time. It's just, you only have so much time, and I have to use it wisely.
Oh, well, I got the connections over there. I'm over there 5 days a week at the old place, but the new place is going to be so awesome.
It's going to be fantastic. I've been watching them build it every day.
Bianca Guess, if anybody's looking for a really qualified person, Bianca Guess, her husband Lorenzo, they're both outstanding individuals at Michigan State University, and they can help you with any of your fitness needs, knowledge, any of that. Look them up. They're all over social media. All right, Doug, let's get back to your topic today. I like this topic a lot, finding inner peace through nature's classroom. We're not done with the embracing change, and I just want to let you riff, because I love listening to you talk. You're just so down with nature. And I try to be like in my yard. But someday I'm going to go out with Doug, and he's going to show me some things as the hunter, non-hunter crew that he and I are, him obviously being the hunter. Please continue the conversation. Go ahead, brother.
Well, so behind me is a picture of a camping setup. There's my wife and my chair and the camper and things. This cedar tree that's on this side of me is actually, it was a pretty good sized tree when I was a little child, and I've been climbing in that tree or being around that tree for a long time. So I'm 56 this year. That tree is far older than that, and it's giant, and it's a cedar tree. So it's a really old cedar tree, and it's really cool. But all the changes in my life, that tree's been there, and I just recognize that. So I like camping there. But going back to what you started saying, so I want to kind of lead in with a sort of a scenario. I want people to think about if you've ever gazed up or gazed on a lake when it's really calm and the surface is really peaceful and calm, but then at some point, like especially early in the morning when there's no wind, it's really like calm as glass. But then maybe there's a little wind and a breeze comes up, and then the ripples kind of go and the reflections aren't quite as clear. And then maybe the wind picks up a little more because the temperature of the day comes up. And so when we get warmer weather, the breeze, and then you get some waves. And so that concept or that metaphor example is really a good example of like how our life can sort of have a plan, but then we get a little bit of static or something. And then pretty soon it feels like our best laid plans are feeling a little topsy-turvy. So nature has a master class in learning to be resilient and having that So what I wanted to use today, because of the picture behind me, and I wanted to apply something that everyone is capable of doing. And I'm going to talk about camping. I mean, this is a hunting, non-hunter show, but camping. And so I want to talk about that because camping is one of the top. It's in the top 10 of all outdoor activities that has came up. It's been strong. It's increased since COVID. And so I think people take part in camping. And I want to talk about 3 physical benefits from camping. One, that camping and hiking, and I use hiking too because people generally walk around when they camp. Benefits are physical fitness and health benefits by just getting some exercise and getting some fresh air. Spending time in nature is proven to reduce stress. It can improve your mood and boost your overall well-being. But beyond that, when you're camping, it tends to strengthen bonds and relationships of people that are camping with you because with your family and friends, because it takes you away from whatever you normally do when you're at home, whether dad's in the garage or mowing the lawn or the kids are playing video games. If you camp, it generally puts you in a new environment where you spend time together, which sometimes seems foreign. And it also causes you to work together. So you're going to make meals together. You're going to set up. You might go navigating. You might take part in walking or sightseeing. And those can create lasting memories and strengthen relationships, which are also essential in your life. The last thing is it increases your life skills and your resourcefulness. And camping requires you to plan, problem solve, and sometimes be resourceful. You plan to have great weather and the weather isn't great. You didn't pack a raincoat or, you have to adapt with the circumstances. And so you'll learn maybe how to pack differently for different weather conditions. You might learn to cook outside, and cooking outside might be like I've cooked on that fire pit over my other shoulder over there. I've cooked meals in the Dutch oven in the coals, and I've done that, but if you've never done that before, it might be unique. You're used to pushing a button on a microwave or a stove, and it can be really fun. Kids really like the idea of doing things like that. I mean, everybody knows about the concept of s'mores, but what if you cooked your whole dinner by making, some things wrapped up in tinfoil or doing some things differently? So it's an adventure. And the last thing is that it by doing that, you can apply those skills to other areas in your life. The 2 skills I want to call out today are wayfinding and sense making. We've heard those before. You may have heard them before. You may have heard them in different sense, but I want to apply them to camping. Wayfinding's literal translation, as it will apply to hiking and camping, is that you would navigate unfamiliar terrain. You would learn to read a map or interpret signs, or, if you're outside and you don't have streetlights, you have to interpret the conditions and make decisions about what pathway to take. That road looks like we could get stuck. We probably shouldn't go down there. And you may or may not. So it translates literally into your life by interpreting and navigating the unknowns in your daily life, looking at unexpected changes, changing priorities, and unfamiliar situations at work or things like that. So those are the problem-solving skills I wanted to relate.
Hold that thought, because I want to come back to the wayfinding and the sense. I didn't get that last term down, but we'll come back to that.
Sense-making.
Okay, sense-making and wayfinding. We're going to continue that thread when we come back, everybody. Doug is our hunter, non-hunter expert, my subject matter expert on this topic. It's a huge topic. Everything he says is relevant and important. You're listening to The Tom Matt Show.
Thank you again to our Segment 3 sponsor, White Law PLLC, where justice meets compassion. White Law is your advocate in times of need. We are here to listen, support, and fight for what you deserve. Contact White Law today for your free consultation. Visit us at whitelawpllc.com or call 517-777-9785. This is The Tom Matt Show.
Welcome to the Tom Matt Show.
4th segment of the Tom Matt Show is sponsored by Brock. All 3 of our sponsors, along with our guests, but like a Doug Resseguie today, our guest, are so awesome. You need to get a hold of these people because they can help you figure things out. You can trust them implicitly. Again, full disclosure, we utilize all of our sponsor services, just like we did with Brock when we sold Big House Holt and bought Little House Lansing, thanks to Mike Dedman. How you doing, Mikey? Brock is a huge supporter of Michigan State University. He helps students. His last episode, as a matter of fact, with us, basically we talked about students. We did a little bit of reality real estate. It's like, I think, his I don't even know, 18th visit or something like that. Check those out. Go find, if you're on the fence with this real estate thing, go listen to some of those episodes. That's the whole thing with Brock. His phone numbers are 517, this is the office number, everybody, 517-853-6408. This is the number you want to have, though. This is Brock's cell phone number, 517-303-3262. 517-303-3262. You can go online to kwsellingteam.com. You can go to our website, tommattshow.com. As I said, all three of our sponsors' banners are at the bottom. Please do that. If you talk to Brock, if you leave him a voicemail, if you text him to that number, that 303-3262 number, text him. If you're new to the show, if you're new to the area, or you're new to real estate and you haven't, you've been in your house for 20, 25 years or whatever, or you're just a newbie that's just starting out, tell Brock you heard about it from Tommy. He'll know where that's coming from because my radio friends all call me Tommy. Sell your home without hassles like we did when we had Big Household. Brock gave me so much valuable information. And if you've got any questions that you want to just go to listen to the podcast, all of them are listed on the through the little categories, topics that we have on the website. Click on there, find the one that is relevant to your situation, listen to it. It's free, doesn't cost you anything, which means it's free, FREE, and you will have you'll gain a lot of confidence from listening to Brock because all three of our sponsors, they're top notch. Like our guest today, Doug Resseguie. The guy's an honest, good guy, good dad, grandpa, doing his thing. It's awesome to have him as my hunter, non-hunter expert, subject matter expert, and my friend. We've done so many things together. It's greatness. Finding inner peace through nature's classroom. Doug, you were in the previous segment. We were wrapping that thing, and we didn't finish the
sense making.
I'm sorry, I didn't write that down. Thank you. Will you please finish that thread, and then we'll continue on with this. I love this topic a lot. Go ahead, please. Wayfinding and sense making.
Yes, and again, everything is based today on camping as the outdoor activity. It's a skill that everybody can be part of, and it's something that I'm trying to talk about how nature's classroom unfolds. So wayfinding, as we mentioned in the last segment, is literally the concept of either navigating or, finding your way. And it's essentially interpreting the unknowns and unexpected challenges to make decisions. So you're navigating. It's much like a navigation. Sense making is very different. It's similar, but very different. Sense making is understanding complexity. And that's the heart of my dissertation, which is complexity leadership and higher education. But nature itself is a complex system with interconnected elements, everything from the weather to the animals, to the wildlife, to the trees, all of it. And so when you're camping, you might observe the delicate balance between the plants and, say, wildlife, or the way the weather patterns could affect the landscape. And by experiencing this complexity firsthand, you develop a better understanding of how seemingly different elements can be interconnected. We understood that during the pandemic because things that we took for granted all of a sudden were removed from you can't do this or you have to do that differently. And we realized there was an interconnectedness. And so it was below the radar. This helps you make sense of complex situations that you could encounter in your daily life. So it's important how different factors might work to influence project or how you take your children to school, or the way today with all the construction, the way you drive to get somewhere would be part of both sense making, understanding the complexity, and wayfinding, understanding where. The reason that's important, both of those build adaptability. Nature's constantly changing. The weather shifts, animals' behavior adapts, ecosystems evolve. But by spending time in nature, you can become accustomed to change and learn to adapt your expectations. This translates in you being able to have a greater level of flexibility and adaptability in your own life and being able to sort of roll with the punches. We talked about that a lot. Your plans change, you got to pivot. And so together, wayfinding and sense making empower you. And I'm going to give you my closing concept before we get near the end of the show because it's so valuable. By honoring wayfinding and sense-making skills in nature, you become better at navigating life's unknown challenges. You can develop your sense of sense-making, which will allow you to interpret complex situations that you can face in daily life and adapt accordingly. So in essence, nature becomes the training ground, or if you will, the place where you build resilience and resourcefulness to face all the challenges you have in your daily life, whether it's just changing because of the way home or because there's a major change or anything else. Because life is going to give us changes. Our health changes, there's all those variables. So this is why I think it's important. And it's a classroom that's readily available to all of us, and we can learn a lot from it. So that's why I wanted to give you that so early in the show.
I like the classroom analogy for the outdoors, Doug. I figures you would say something like that. Just super duper. You had it on your notes and your bullets, sharpening skills. Well, if you have a classroom like the outdoors, it gives you a lot of opportunity to, again, build a lot of the things that you've been talking about with the resiliency, changing the lens, as you said earlier, framing it up a little bit different. You've taught a lot of kids how to do these things, haven't you?
Yes, absolutely. I mean, worked a lot with people outdoors. I continue to work with people outdoors. I'm very big advocate of engaging in youth and mentoring programs for all kinds of skills. I mean, I taught martial arts to literally hundreds, if not thousands, of youth over the past 30 some years. But that's just another aspect of adding. I'm going to pivot on you. I know you find that hard to believe. Teaching martial arts was really rewarding for me because I would teach people at all different ages, and everybody found something of value in what they were learning. Some people said to me, I just learned that I can confidently not worry about going outside because I feel relatively comfortable, that I'll be okay. And so that doesn't mean that they feel like they can be really tough or anything else. It means that their sense of awareness was heightened, or that they felt a sense of sort of control in their life. When you work in the outdoors, and let's say you go camping, if you're young, my daughter, my granddaughter right now, being in the outdoors is going in the backyard, which is like 5 acres, and exploring. But that's wilderness to her today because she finds everything is interesting. But when you do that, you come back to your life with a sense of, maybe I can do a little more. If you go on a rafting trip, or you go canoeing, or you do something that's just a little different, it adds to your resume or your CV in life of what you can do and how resilient you can be. Some people resilience might be, I stayed for a whole weekend without electricity and I literally didn't die. I mean, that was scary to me. It might be something they never experienced.
Well, you're talking to me on that one. I mean, one thing that I've only camped a few times. And, one thing that I found in camping, Doug, you're going to be shocked when I tell you this, but when you go camping, there's a lot of dirt.
There's a lot of dirt, Tom.
There's like you're outdoors. And I am totally serious here. I didn't realize how filthy I would get, but it's all good because it's like, who cares? Everybody else is too. So it's just like,
it's interesting that you bring up that point. My favorite camping is in backcountry camping, where you are literally not by a trailer. You may have a tent. You are staying somewhere immersed in nature. In the beginning of having those types of experiences, what I realized is I fought with the idea that I didn't have what I thought I needed. But when you accept where you're at, and Megan Hine writes that in her book, in her survival book, we talked about Megan Hine, Mind of a Survivor. When you accept the conditions, all of a sudden you get at peace with where you're at and you can enjoy that. And then you just become one with it.
When we come back, we'll talk some more about accepting the conditions in the backcountry, because that's what we talk about on the Hunter Non-Hunter episodes with Doug Resseguie. This is a camping show, finding inner peace through nature's classroom. Again, the classroom analogy for the outdoors is perfect. We have a couple more points to talk about, and maybe we'll have time to talk about Doug's experience at Man Camp. We hope. You're listening to The Tom Matt Show.
Thank you again to our segment 4 sponsor, Brock Fletcher, real estate agent at the selling team with Keller Williams Realty. For more information on services provided by Brock, please call his personal cell phone at 517-303-3262 or by emailing Brock at kwsellingteam.com. This is the Tom Matt Show.
Welcome to the Tom Matt Show.
Hey, everybody. Welcome back to the Tom Matt Show. Thank you so much for joining us today. Doug Resseguie is my guest today. Finding Inner Peace Through Nature's Classroom. And we got a lot more material to cover here with Doug because he's a busy guy and he's very knowledgeable. Top 5 things. But before we go into the top 5 things that Doug wants to share with us, and then maybe we'll have time to talk about Man Camp, I want to get Doug's contact information. You know you can find me at tommattshow.com, so that's good enough. We'll just leave it there. Doug, how would you like people to connect with you?
The easiest way is to go through your show, Tom, because you always have a link and my information's there, but I am not somebody who hides my information. If you search for me, you'll either find pictures of me fishing, camping, outdoors, or doing karate on the internet. So if you just look me up, my information's probably pretty easy to find. But go to your show. That's the easiest way to reach me.
Okay. Thank you for doing that, plugging the show and, getting that kind of thing going. Top 5 things. What would you like to share with the listeners and the viewers of the webcast, Doug? Go ahead, please.
Well, I wanted to not make assumptions. People listening to the show might be unfamiliar with this, or they may be new. And so what I wanted to do was try to leave some mentoring and coaching tips. So here are my top 5. 1, start simple and be close to home. If you've never camped and you have children or you're going to try this, get a tent and do it in their backyard so that if they get cold in the middle of the night, they can come inside. And because nothing, and you've said this, Tom, you told me the reason that you didn't want to go outdoors with me is because bad experiences you had with your dad who made you suffer unbearable cold, and you don't want to do it anymore. And I'm telling you, with the right gear, you'll be comfortable and you won't have that. So maybe you'll trust me and you'll come with me sometime. But start close to home. Don't jump into a multi-day backpacking trip or something that's really in the wilderness. Or if you're comfortable with the backyard, then maybe go to a campground that has some amenities like bathrooms, showers, and things like that. Start by going from a hotel to a campground or something just to test the waters and find out what you like. It allows you to be comfortable and understand the basics of setting up your camp, feeding your family, and not being overwhelmed. 2, borrow before you buy. If you don't have it, chances are someone like myself or some of your friends have stuff. Gear can get expensive, so ask people if they can borrow a tent or sleeping bag, family, friends. Somebody's got the stuff. Pack light, but pack smart. Resist the urge to bring everything that you have with you. Sometimes the benefit of camping is teaching you what you don't need, and if you have to drag all that stuff with you. So you're going to need water, you're going to need food, you need a way to keep yourself warm. The other thing is practice. If you're going to use a tent, practice setting up the tent at home. Don't wait till you're at a campsite, because if you're in a public park, you're going to feel some pressure that you're not setting it up and other people look like they're being successful. You're already creating some stress you don't need. Practice setting it up at home. If you have pieces that have to go together, I recommend taping the ends and color coding them. We have a really complex tent that we take sometimes, and when we put it together, all the pieces are marked. This goes with this, so you can set it up easily. The last thing about camping is leave no trace. And because my son is an Eagle Scout, and I have great respect, and I've said this before, when I spend time outdoors, I'm generally bringing trash from wherever I went back to society and putting it, whether it's fish line from rivers or whatever. So respect the environment and follow those principles. Pack in and pack out any trash you take with you. And if you have trash that's there that you see or something, just take it back, because nothing makes something feel a little bit like a bad start as if you get somewhere and there's a bunch of stuff. So even if somebody else didn't use that, carry that out for yourself, and you'll feel rewarded by knowing you've made nature a little bit better place. And we want to pass it forward to future generations. So those are my top 5, Tom.
That is such a great list. Let me go back through that again. This is what I wrote down, just to keep it very straightforward, and then we'll move on to the rest of Doug's material here. Keep it simple, number 1. Borrow before you buy, number 2. Pack light. I wouldn't have known any of this stuff. The practice and the thing with the taping and the color coding, Love it. Visuals always work. And then leave no trace. Maybe even pick up, as Doug was saying, maybe even pick up some other people's remnants that they left to help make the site better. I'm a trash picker upper myself. I mean, I see trash on the floor or at the store or something. I'm picking it up. I'm putting it in a trash. It only takes 3 seconds, and not even that.
And one thing that's really great is almost every one of the Michigan parks, any places that you have walking areas and things, they've done a really good job of setting up trash cans and or places you can dispose of things. Even some places have added recycling, so you can even break it down and not put it in landfills. You can do that at the parking lot. So take an extra bag. My wife and I carry a very small, it packs down, but it's a bag that opens up. So we're not using trash bags, but we carry a reusable bag and then you can just wash it. So if you want something like that, those are also handy if you're in nature and you find something like morel mushrooms or something, and you're like, ooh, I want to take those. So those are little handy things you can carry just in your day pack.
Doug, where else do you want to go with this topic, finding inner peace through nature's classroom, before we jump into man camp? I mean, I'm kind of at your wherever you want to go with this, because this is really your topic. Where else do you want to go before we end the show here in about 10 minutes?
I'm going to take an ultimate pivot. So, Tom, you have very little camping experience and you go outdoors very little. What are 1 or 2 things you learned from today's show, and what would you like to know that I haven't explained more?
Well, I love the list. I mean, the list, as I just said, is greatness, and having the visual, practicing setting up the tent would be cool. I mean, just practicing going out in the backyard and experiencing the chill of the night. I mean, it's just accepting what's going to be coming to you and not feeling overwhelmed and not knowing what to bring. It's like, because I wouldn't know anything about anything, like what to pack. So I would probably way overpack. So those are just a few things that I would talk about. So,
well, let's take something that's not going to happen for a few months, but let's challenge people that if you're a tailgater, some people have a very elaborate, very well defined, their tailgate's always the same way. It's kind of like a mini camping trip. It's just going to last for a few hours. So use some of these ideas for that, or think about what you know about tailgating, setting up an awning, taking some food, cleaning your stuff up. Use that to prep for your first experience that's overnight, because we don't generally tailgate overnight. And like I said, the first one was start simple and close to home, because especially if you have young people, they can get frightened, especially if you have a storm or something or the weather changes. So you want to make sure you have an exit strategy. Don't overstay it. If it doesn't work, then back out, because you don't want to build the lasting thoughts that this is not something they want to do again. So start simple and close to home.
That's an excellent point, because if you do have a storm come in, and we have in the Midwest, we have these thunder boomers that come through in the summertime. Absolutely great point. All right, we got enough time. We got about 3 minutes to go here, and I'm going to need your closing concept. So do we have time to talk about man camp real quick and then do the closing concept?
Sure.
Okay, go ahead.
What do you want to know about man camp?
I want to know what it is. I want you to kind of, in a quick synopsis, what is it and what do people need to know about it?
Well, there's a lot of different types of man camp, but this particular man camp is held in southern Michigan. It is an activity where there's a resort, Miracle Camp puts it on, but it's designed for men. They have everything from paintball to climbing walls, high ropes. There's skeet shooting, archery, all kinds of activities. They had pickleball. I mean, and what it's really designed to do is take guys who oftentimes are the people who they don't communicate well, put them in a guy-like environment and let them work amongst themselves and have sort of a fellowshipping area where they can share their challenges and experiences in a more rugged environment, but also give them a chance to sort of decompress. So it's like if you're with your family, you might be the one that everybody's looking at for the answer if something isn't working. In the man camp scenario, it's kind of more expanded where you don't have that role, but you're with people that you can share that might have similar experiences. So that's kind of what it was all about.
There's so much. Sounds so awesome. Sounds so much like you. What is your closing concept, Doug? We got 2 minutes to go before we wrap this bad boy. You had a closing concept you want to leave everybody with, and I hope they stuck around. If they didn't, well, they can come and get the podcast. TomMattShow.com. Go ahead. Closing concept.
Here's my closing concept. No matter what problems you're facing, and some of them I can't even begin to imagine. Everybody has difficulty in life. The world that we live in and the natural universe is incredible beyond words. If you got a chance recently to go look at the Northern Lights, which I've seen a few times in my life in this area, it challenges your brain to think of words to describe things because you're like, wow, that is incredible. And so when you see incredible things like that, it just opens the lens that maybe you're frustrated with where you parked at work or how far you had to walk to get the grocery store or simple things. They can be annoying, but when you get beyond that, it unwraps those layers and it helps you just take a deep breath. And I really want this message to be about health and wellness and well-being because our world is very busy. If you do not get outside, take your shoes off and put your feet in the dirt or the grass. You don't have to be in dirt or mud. You can be in the grass, but just get grounded and take a deep breath because the world wants you to be healthy and well. Like you mentioned, the sun, it's relaxing. Everything else about the speed and the pace of business and everything else from politics or whatever, those things all challenge us. So just balance that scale out in your health and wellness with nature, and nature will give you that opportunity.
If our show fits your business or group's mission, we want to be of service to you through our guests, topics, issues, all of it, like a Doug Resseguie. Finding inner peace through nature's classroom. Doug is the subject matter expert for The Hunter Not Hunter on our radio show, and I'm proud to say that. 11th visit to the show, always doing a great job for us. Again, always remember before you can share love with others, you must love yourself first. Some of the things that Doug talks about, they're so applicable to loving yourself. It doesn't have to be that complicated. Thank you to Doug Resseguie, Sandy Matt, Craig Stiles, Brock Fletcher, Jamie White. We'll talk to everybody next weekend. Have a great week. Go out and ignite your life. Remember, the Tom Matt Show is a production of Boomers Rock Media. We want to bring your story to life. And lastly, I want to say thank you to Mitch Anderson. We're out.
The Tom Matt Show is produced by Mitch Anderson of Black Circle Studios. Original music from the Source of Light and Power by the Ark of All.